Hey everyone, Genome here with my entry for Geeky Pete's 100 sub giveaway competition. I discovered his channel by submitting a video for another YouTuber's competition. So it shows you what a small world YouTube is out there. But anyway, the rules for this competition were pretty simple. You just had to answer 2 questions and subscribe. So subscriptions are already taken care of, and let's get on to the questions. Alright, question 1. And that one is my first memory of either reading a comic or buying a comic. So my first memory for reading a comic, I don't really remember them well. Probably like the He-Man, G.I. Joe, Transformer comics that a lot of times came with the toys, you know, the little booklets or whatever. They had many comics in them. But I don't really remember any of those. I was really young when I was getting those kind of toys. So I would say that the first comic that I ever got that was a full-size legitimate comic was West Coast Avengers number 16, and I got that in a giant plastic egg. It was kind of like an Easter basket that some friends of my mom and dad had put together for us kids. Now, granted, I was a little old for this. I think I was 11 at the time. I mean, but still, what kid's going to turn down a pre-loot crate full of, you know, swag at that age? So, of course, I took it, and it had that issue of West Coast Avengers in it, and I read it and reread it and reread it. I may still have it somewhere. If it is, it's in pretty rough shape, considering I didn't exactly keep them in mint condition back then. But yeah, it was a classic. I remember it had, was it Hellcats, Tigra, Mockingbird, Hank Pym was in there somewhere, but anyway. So that was really technically my first comic, I would say. Now, the first comic I remember buying, and I could be wrong about the issue, but I'm thinking it was Punisher War Journal number 2. And once again, I read and reread that so many times that the cover about fell off of it. If it didn't already fall off of it, I had to go buy it again later on when I started collecting. But yeah, that was pretty much my introduction to comics. And from there, it just kind of blossomed out. Now, question 2 is, what is your favorite supporting character for a Friday the 13th movie? And when I was younger, I watched the heck out of these movies. In fact, well, back then I was a Halloween guy, and my best friend Steven at the time, he was a Friday the 13th guy. So we were just constantly watching the movies. You know, we spent the night at each other's houses or whatever, which was basically every other weekend or so. We were pretty much inseparable back then. So I had a real hard time picking my favorite. I'll go ahead and pick one at the end, you know, just for completion's sake. But really, I have kind of a top 3 for just supporting characters. And in no particular order, I would have to say, let's say number 1 would be Jimmy, played by Crispin Glover, and he was in Friday the 13th Part 4. And I'll throw some pictures of him around here in case you don't know who he is. But basically, if you've seen the movie, you'll know the guy who has the epic dance scene. So he plays kind of a real affable guy, and he's got this real jerk friend who's always running him down. But you can tell the jerk friend has never done any of the things that he's lambasting his friend for, which makes it kind of humorous. But yeah, he seems like a real nice guy, and I mean, as far as, you know, throwaway characters go in a Friday the 13th movie, he's not too bad, and I guess somewhat memorable. I guess number 2 would be Melissa, played by Susan Jennifer Sullivan from Friday the 13th Part 7. And she played kind of the mean girl, rich girl, little snob. I'm assuming she was rich because she had a little pearl necklace on for most of the show. But yeah, she comes off as very, very unlikable. And it takes talented, you know, actors and actresses to come off and make you kind of detest them. Sometimes, you know, you're handed a script and, well, you don't have a whole lot to work with, so you just got to make it your own. And I feel that's what she did with this role. You know, you really dislike her, and you're almost cheering for Jason to get her when it finally happens. So, yeah, I'd say she's probably number 2, just because she's memorable. I mean, it's easy to pick, like Lar Park Lincoln, Tina from the movie, but we're going for supporting characters, right? And my third pick is kind of dicey on whether it's a supporting character, but in reality, he didn't have a whole lot of screen time in this movie, even though it sort of centers around him. And that's Tommy Jarvis, played by John Shepherd in Friday the 13th Part 5, which many people consider the worst one. I don't think it really was, other than the fact that it didn't have a certain protagonist in it for real. But I thought he did a real good job playing the emotionally disturbed young man that he was, you know, after witnessing the violence that he had seen in Friday the 13th Part 4. Yeah, I thought he carried the role off pretty well. And he kicked the hell out of that one guy that was taunting him. That was kind of an interesting little scene. But yeah, I thought he did a fairly good job in that movie, actually. So I'm not really sure if you could call him a supporting character, though. So if we get down to the supporting characters, if we're going to exclude Tommy, I'll say it's between Jimmy and Melissa. And I guess I'll just have to go with Jimmy, just for the simple fact that you don't despise him. By the time the credits roll, you kind of really empathize for the guy, really. So, and while Melissa was a great character, yeah, you don't empathize with her really at all, unless you too were a mean girl. So anyway, those are my answers. Be sure to check out Geeky Pete's channel on a recurring basis. He likes to upload things that have to center around, you know, kind of geek culture as well. If you would, go over to my channel and check it out. You might find something you like there as well. I'll probably have some more contest videos coming up shortly, and I have another movie review that I'm still working on. I gotta shoot and edit it yet, but I'm getting ideas together for it and collecting images and thinking about clips to possibly put in there, so it takes a little time. So anyway, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time, this is Genome, out.